Awesome, thank you.
Hey, yeah,
appreciate
for sure.
coming in.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you first. You're the assistant winemaker,
winemaker.
Okay.
I'm still fighting for that winemaker title. I mean, but when it's a family business, it's really, you're doing all kinds of stuff on any given day. Soon after we bought this 30-acre parcel just next door, it was gonna just be kind of, let's plant a couple acres, fun little hobby, and sell the fruit. And then Dad ended up doing a garage vintage in '99 and just fell in love with it.
That's awesome.
I think we built the winery the next year, and he basically quit his job after that. And so I was training vines when I was 12, 13.
Okay.
I think that's where we've struck a great balance, is that really I'm handling the day-to-day stuff in the winery, and my dad really is the vineyard guru. I mean, everything I know about winemaking, I've learned from him. He's passed on a lot of that knowledge, and he's really kind of like keeps a close eye on the vineyard to make sure we're getting all that we can. You know, I think that's something that's so crucial to making any wine, but especially Pinot, because it is quite a fickle grape and a fickle plant, that you got to give it the best chance you can out in the vineyard, and then not manipulate it too much in the winery. And especially here, you know, we really go for as least interference as possible. And I think, you know, it shows in the wines. In a way, I feel like the winemakers also almost reflect the terroir. A good example of that is, you know, here we do a lot of whole cluster fermentation, and that's kind of one of the backbones of our approach to making Pinot Noir. And we're able to do that because we have such a longer, more moderate growing season. We've often been one of the last, if not the last, vineyards to pick Pinot Noir as late as like the second week of November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so while that can run into some issues, you know, getting fully ripe or getting some storms coming in, it's such a long, even growing season that when our sugars and acids are coming to line, the wood is also coming to line. What I mean by that is we're looking at the stems to actually see they start to turn brown, also known as lignification, and we'll actually at the harvest table be deciding which sections we're going to do whole cluster or not, kind of based on how much lignification they have, and you can give it a little chew, and you start to get these great kind of woody, more earthy flavors than if you put bright green stems into a fermentation. You would just get a lot of that real harsh, bitter green. So to me, that biggest influence of this area is the fact that we can do whole cluster, because it changes the structure of the wine so much. I mean, you're getting tannins in right in that fermentation, and different types of tannins than you would just be getting out of the oak barrels. And wild yeast. We do about 50% native yeast across the board. So in that cold soak time before fermentation gets going, we the ones that really want to start fermenting and have started vigorously after 5-6 days, we basically kind of let those go. So they kind of get to pick themselves, which is cool. In different years, different clones or sections might just start going native, whereas others aren't. I mean, we found a couple sections and clones that we have yeast that have worked really well over the years, so we'll continue to use those, but we're also kind of continuing to experiment. If you open a Pinot from us and smell oak, it's certainly from the French oak barrels. I mean, we do about 25% new oak, and that varies depending on the wine and depending what we're looking for out of a certain clone or section or something. But what the stems seem to do is just give you this beautiful structure, so that when aged properly and kind of released at the right time, you get that great fruit, but it also just has this rich, full structure, which just helps Pinot so much. Santa Cruz Mountains definitely seems to produce some nice fruit-forward wines, but we don't really like them to be fruit bombs. Maybe some other regions tend to get a little more fruit forward. Maybe they're just a bit warmer, so it's like stuff's just getting riper, and maybe the acids aren't quite getting along as quick as the sugar. So it's important for us to balance that fruit and the structure. I mean, we certainly make wines to age. I think one of my dad's biggest goals is having something that can go, 10, 15 years, maybe even 20. And doing whole cluster fermentation certainly helps with that. We do make a pretty wide variety of wines now, but Pinot has always kind of been our love and our passion, and something we'll really continue to focus on.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Spencer. I look forward to seeing the rest of the tasting room, and thanks for letting us come in.
For sure.
Yeah.